subscribe and ring the bell to never miss an update. Hello everyone! Today on Lady Mary Beth, I'm taking you inside the Marketplace Antiques and Collectibles. There are over 90 vendors, 2 buildings, and I'm going to share with you the best of the best. Join me. The Marketplace Antiques is located on I-10 Katy Freeway, just across from City Center and the Memorial City area, very close to the Taste of Texas, my favorite area restaurant. Today we're going to meet up with Max Miller and discover his wonderful shop. And this is a great weekend shopping destination, open Friday through Sunday. And Max even has some glassware on sale for us today. At half price, these would make great gifts. And perhaps you will find something that matches a pattern or something familiar to you. I love the cobalt. And of course, the opalescent glass. Beautiful color too. Welcome to the Marketplace Antiques and Collectibles. We're going to visit with some wonderful dealers today and see some rare and unusual finds and lots of great glass. I'm excited to take you inside Max Miller's store. This is actually my first visit. Normally I see him at the Houston Glass Show where he brings an assortment, and I always learn something new from him, and glad to finally see all of his wonderful treasures under one roof. I'm thrilled to bring you inside Max Miller Antiques. You know Max from the Houston Glass Show, and there's some amazing finds here in his shop with a bit of history. Let's take a look. We will see many different eras represented here today, along with different price points. And some of the reasons that I shop the secondary market for things to add to my home and table are value, quality, and craftsmanship. And that's something you just can't get today in retail products. That cranberry epergne is stunning. Very special piece from the Victorian era. Just so much for every taste and style here, and we will learn some new things along the way.
Hello, welcome to my store. This is Max Miller Antiques, and I'm located in Houston, Texas. My store is a weekend store. We are open Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And I established the store here in 1980, so we've been working on it a long time.
And lots of beautiful things
lots
here.
Lots of beautiful things. This is a Cambridge bowl. The pattern is Adonis, and it's a rock crystal cutting, which a lot of collectors locally do enjoy and collect.
Okay, now let's take a look at all of his treasures. A viewer commented that Max is a kind soul who loves sharing his knowledge. Definitely true words. And now let's take a look at a punch bowl that is a classic piece with a bit of history related to the design. Heisey made this gorgeous punch bowl in about 1910. And to understand this design element, let's meander through the history of the Greek key design. It was first seen in 300 BC in an earthenware piece. And this is a symbol of infinity and the continuation of life. Eye-catching colors here in this case, and I love how the cobalt mixes well with that cranberry. In the center, we have a Steuben candelabra. That is made in New York, and it is a fantastic piece. I've actually not seen this one before in the blue. It is well priced at $375, worth every penny. And one of my favorite collections, cake stands. You can never have too many. It's a great way to elevate just about anything, and always party perfect. He's got even a touch of Japonaise and Chinoiserie here in the case. Some beautiful pieces. You could spend all day. And this American Brilliant pitcher set, often referred to as a lemonade set, you probably have seen in a recent segment that that is a status symbol, or at least it was in the Victorian era. Hurricane lamps are also highly collectible. Love all the different colors. And this is a very special piece. We're going to take a closer look at that and learn about its history. This is an 1898 Fostoria banquet lamp, and this was produced in Ohio before they moved to Moundsville, West Virginia. I see some beautiful coin dot opalescent, but we're going to actually take a closer look at this beautiful basket. Another great collection to consider. You can use these for serving, for florals, and this one is very special. Of course, that's opalescent with the ruffled edge. It is priced at $135. This basket beauty is from 1939, one of the original Fenton pieces, spiral optic with a cobalt trim. And they did reissue this in 1982, the difference being it actually has the Fenton logo on the newer piece and it's a bit thicker. The older is finer and without a logo. You may remember this exquisite piece from the very first Houston Glass show that I shared with you, and it has an interesting history. This gorgeous Pairpoint urn has quite a history of the manufacturer and the former owner. Let me tell you all about it. The Pairpoint Glass Factory has some history with the Mount Washington Glass Works, and that's a company that founded in 1837 in South Boston. And Pairpoint eventually built right next door to this factory, and they merged in 1894 because they had a lot of the same shareholders and customers. It was known as the finest glass in the United States. It was originally owned by Frances Jordan, who was selected as America's Beauty and featured on 300,000 calendars in World War I. Fenton made some beautiful pieces, including the cranberry coin dot, optic glass, hobnail. Just love all of this. And it's nice that we have quite a variety too from different eras of their manufacturing. And I think that picture is my absolute favorite. And this bowl would be quite stunning. And elevated nicely on the cake stand. Just love it. And they even have a pair of lamps. How about that? I did not know that Fenton made the coin dot lamps. There's just so much to discover and a lot of history too with the different glass manufacturers. I'm always open to learning about glassware in particular, something I'm passionate about, and Max is always helpful in explaining the history, for example, of this Pairpoint glass in the beautiful amethyst. Not as much was made because of demand in this particular color, and you will notice the detail of the controlled bubble connectors. That is extra special. And the cobalt is beautiful, my personal favorite, and the ruby glass goes with just about every season. Made by the Imperial Glass Company, this Tiger Lily pitcher set is quite special. It's got that iridescent look like carnival glass and such detail. You don't find that in today's manufacturers. And now let's take a look at some glass that you may recall from the first Houston Glass show that I shared. It's made by the Tiffin Glass Company in the twilight color, and it changes from lavender to light blue depending on the light because it has neodymium, which reacts to different light sources. It is quite beautiful. And this pattern you probably recognize. It is one of the most popular and iconic ones made by a top U.S. glass manufacturer, and we'll talk a little bit more of its history and how it got its name. And there are some unique pieces within this assortment that are harder to find and of course more valuable. And that's the one thing you'll want to look out for when you're thrifting, because you may find something that is quite rare. And imagine the tables that these graced over the years. Just some exquisite pieces. These gorgeous 3-light candelabras are from Duncan Miller, and with a pair at $800, well priced. They are 3-light with lots of beautiful prisms. You will sometimes see these in classic TV shows and movies. They're from about the 1930s, and sometimes you'll even see these on a sideboard in a fight scene so that Hollywood has you on the edge of your seat, and they are absolutely stunning. And with any popular pattern, whether it's Waterford Crystal Lismore or this one in particular, you will have more items that are made. And yes, it's made by the Imperial Glass Company. And that is the beauty of selecting a top pattern when you're registering as a bride or choosing a pattern to start, because that way you have more variety, there's longevity, and that's also something to consider. Candlewick was created by Imperial Glass Company in 1936. It has been its most successful elegant glass line, and it was named after the colonial needlework technique called candlewicking. An iconic pattern from the Fostoria Glass Company. And many of you have found some great pieces while thrifting, and you've shared it in our Facebook group page, Lady Mary Beth's Table. If you're not a member, I encourage you to join us there. It's lots of fun where you can show off your thrifted finds, your beautiful table settings, or perhaps even ask a question if you need to have some help identifying an item. Great assortment here. As with any industry, there was competition between the glassworks companies, and Imperial Candlewick is a classic, a bestseller, but they actually were competing with Cambridge Rosepoint and Fostoria American. Fostoria American is a very familiar pattern to you. We do see this often at antique stores. It was made from 1914 to 1985. And their cake stands are my personal favorites. I actually don't have this round one. It's $129. The square is $149, and that is a great deal. I often see these for $250. The Cambridge Glass Company made quite an extensive line of the statuesque, and you'll find this in compotes and stemware, and their color is just incredible. And you'll find that a lot of glass manufacturers today don't really master that art, including Waterford Crystal. Their color is not the absolute best, but Baccarat does an amazing job with that. And one of my favorite affordable glass lines, Depression glass. We're going to talk all about this, including some historical tidbits that you probably were not aware of. And of course, it's available in many different colors. Pink and green are the ones that I collect. In fact, I had this mixing bowl growing up, very familiar to me. For $26, that would be a nice addition. Unlike elegant glass of the Depression era, Depression glass was actually quite affordable. This is a great example of a mixing bowl that would have been nested from Hazel Atlas in the crisscross pattern. And you might have received something such as a teacup as a premium. And that meant whether you bought oatmeal or gasoline, you got a free gift with purchase. And that would entice the customers to go out and shop their Montgomery Ward or Sears catalog, and perhaps even go to their local F.W. Woolworth to add to that. Green Depression glass goes with every season. It pairs well with a Christmas look, of course, spring and summer, and even into fall. And here we have some elegant glassware. And yes, there is a difference between elegant glass and Depression glass. This is perfect for iced tea, for a luncheon. Just love it. And a sugar and creamer. It's a very fancy look with an affordable glass. Let's take a closer look at this. I like that they're footed and they have some lovely patterns. That's something that you could just pair with white dishes. It doesn't even have to be an entire collection. And this is perfect for a juice glass. An interesting tidbit about Depression glass is that it was government funded at times. If you're familiar with the New Deal from FDR, the WPA, Works Progress Administration, where they aimed at restoring prosperity to Americans, stabilizing the economy, and they definitely helped people keep jobs with glass companies such as Anchor Hocking and Jeanette. The pink Depression glass is also lots of fun, a very feminine look. I like to use this for parties and luncheons and, of course, baby showers. So many occasions where pink just adds that perfect pop of color. Elegant glass of the Depression era, such as this Fostoria June goblet, would have been definitely something that sold in high-end department stores, perhaps even jewelry stores. Skilled artisans, these were fire-polished, a better quality glass. And if you were searching for a wedding gift or something special for a friend in the 1930s, you would definitely consider elegant glass. I would love to hear from you in the comments below if you have Depression glass in your tabletop collection or even elegant glass of the Depression era. And if so, which colors do you tend to collect? Green is definitely my favorite, but I do love the pink. And the combination is simply perfection. You can see the quality with this Fostoria Versailles pattern with that beautiful shell. This would have been hand polished, and that gives it its high gloss with the glass. And it is definitely a step above, again with skilled artisans, and it would have been either hand pressed, hand molded, or hand blown. The cruet sets were definitely popular turn of the century, and you see them from so many different glass manufacturers. And the Heisey Glass Company made many beautiful patterns, including the orchid. And that butter dish is rare, not as many were made. It's priced at $3.50. That picture is just absolutely beautiful. And of course, I had to find the only piece of Waterford crystal that Max Miller has in his assortment. Had no idea, did not expect to find my Araglin pattern. There's always lots to learn when you visit Max Miller's antique shop. Lots of treasures here in this store. I encourage you to come out and see Max. I'm taking home this Waterford Crystal Araglin iced beverage. It is well priced at $35, $105 retail, and you don't find this quality anymore. Glad to have found it today. Now let's go discover some other dealers here at the marketplace. It's always such fun to visit with Max and learn something new about antique and vintage glassware. Now we're going to look at the shop next door and find some more wonderful treasures. Little window shopping for us today. And we'll learn about a lamp manufacturer that at least I wasn't aware of. I'm always learning something new. And of course, chinoiserie is a big plus, especially when you can find a pair. How much is that Marlboro in the window? I'm going to tell you all about this mid-century lamp, and we're going to visit Astrid with Ladybug Antiques. Some beautiful chinoiserie too. Come on inside. Step inside with me to Ladybug Antiques, and we'll discover some lightingware and tabletop treasures, and some linens as well. Can't wait to show you how the owner has repurposed some of these items. And this lamp is in pristine condition, and I just love learning about the history of it. Marlboro is one of the finest lamp producers in the mid-century. These were sold at high-end furniture stores, graced the homes of the Hollywood elite, and is still coveted by interior designers today. This is well priced at $1,000. They easily would go for $3,000 today, and this has the original shade. Such a beauty. Lovely array of decanters. Many of you have inquired about safely storing spirits in these, and I would suggest that you use it for serving and not for storing long term because of the lead content, and it is perfectly safe to use. It's a gorgeous punch bowl with some lovely linens. A viewer in the Clear Lake area near Houston has gifted me with an almost identical punch bowl. This is from Germany. And those cups are really nice to have. That's not often that you find them with a set. $250. And it also comes with the ladle, which I think is the best part. It is sterling silver. Let's take a look at that. I think that is the true bargain here today. The very classic design. And modern French crystal. This has a beautiful etching, but we couldn't figure out the back stamp. It's definitely valuable. And this piece here is quite something, complete with an appraisal. That is an amazing piece. A lot of history that goes along with these items. And this you probably will recognize as Lalique, French crystal. And the price is $600. And if you've ever shopped for Lalique, you'll know that that is a fair price. Vintage linens, just love it. Absolutely the best way to set a table. And she has done an amazing job with repurposing fabrics, making them into pillows. Just love it. Look at those poppies. That would definitely dress up some bed linens. And here she's taken one with a monogram and created a small boudoir pillow. It's priced at $40. It's an incredible piece. And some christening gowns. That's not something that's easy to find. And she's got quite an assortment of these. Look at that eyelet design. Just gorgeous. And ruby cut to clear, I see from a distance. That's a stunning piece. Such detail with the cutting and that hob star. And another look at the pair of chinoiserie vases. And they're priced at $125 for the pair, which is a very fair price. And when you're thinking of giving a gift, if maybe you don't know the colors of their decor or their taste, you can't go wrong with white bisque. This is an extensive collection from Kaiser Porzellan, made in Germany. And in a future video, we'll talk more about the history of Kaiser Porzellan when we go to a German consignment shop. And here in this case, we have quite an amazing set of sterling silver and glass sherbet dishes. These are perfect for shrimp cocktail. Of course, you could serve just about anything inside of them. And a lot of mid-century sterling and glass serveware. This is a great piece with that etching. It's always a good idea to shop your local antique store for some great gifts. Here we have a vintage etched glass footed candy dish. You could place soaps here, use it for jewelry, just about anything, or for tabletop. And it's a 2-in-1. You take off the glass insert. It's a sterling silver candle holder, well priced at $35. More sterling beauties inside the case, and these actually have the glass hurricanes that you'll see on the shelf and the reticulated part there where they fit in. I just love it. That would make a great gift as well. And the sterling candle holders. You just can't go wrong with sterling. It's a very lasting gift. And some jewelry as well. This happens to be my birthstone, ruby, for the month of July. I might have to try it on. And it fits. That is a really nice ring. It's not something I've seen before. Quite nice. And I just absolutely love crystal and glass. And if you add sterling to it, I love it even more. That is an exquisite piece with the gadroon border. And this looks to be European. It's labeled American Brilliant, possibly with that hobstar design. I would say it's probably European, maybe from Germany, $120. And this picture is very old, from about 1900, made by the Libby Glass Company. And it is quite rare and priced at $5.50. And it's a signed piece, which makes it extra special because back then not all pieces were signed. Mary Frances handbags started in California from a former jewelry designer. And this would be a nice ladies go to lunch bag. You could definitely get noticed there. I have quite a collection of Mary Frances. This looks to be maybe a piece from the 80s. It's definitely an older design. You can tell by the logo. It's in perfect condition. I'm taking home a Kaiser Porzellan vase. Isn't this wonderful with the white bisque? Now let's walk on over to the other building and we'll take a look at some interesting furnishings and clocks. We're going to the main building now, where I will take you inside to Barbara's Antiques. I'm just amazed at the quality furnishings that they offer. Many of them are from England. There are some French antiques as well. And it's a great way to incorporate something of quality and style into your decor. I'm pleased to take you along to Barbara's Antiques, which is in the main building. They specialize in European and Americana vintage and antiques. Many of these items are 200 years old and more. And the best news is they have a transporter they work with. So if you live outside of Houston and there's something you've got to have, look in the video description and reach out to Barbara's Antiques. And of course, you could spend all day at the marketplace, but I wanted to show you the absolute best of the best today. And this is an interesting piece here, of course, with a bit of history, and love that black lacquer look. Anything that is Japonaise or Chinoiserie piques my interest. The reopening of foreign trade with Japan in 1858 created a Japonaise movement. This is a great example with the English Chippendale that's accented with a Japanese style. And of course, it is the Western interpretation of Japanese art, much like Chinoiserie. This is an interesting frame of George III with something that's actually from before the American Revolution, 1760 or 1766. A George III chest of drawers. And what's unique about this piece is it's actually newspaper lined, and we can actually see the year in which it was used. Perhaps it was made a few years before, in the era and style of George III. And I did take a look at that newspaper inside, and truly it is dated, as they say, from the 1700s. Wow, 18th century, 1500. It's just amazing that you can find something that is still rather affordable, that has such an interesting history. If you go to a furniture store today, you can't find this quality anymore. Think about how long this has lasted. And desks are definitely very popular again because of everyone working from home. So you can have just about any size or storage. Here's a small one that would accommodate a laptop. And that's something to think about if you're shopping for a desk. Go to your local antique store. You might find just the thing you've been looking for. And some great storage underneath as well. And this is something that you don't see too often. It's almost like an all-in-one kitchen, priced at $1,295. We all think we need a larger kitchen and more storage, but if you see what people could work with in 1860, you may rethink that. This is a wonderful example of primitive. We've got some great storage down here for staples and space for your teacups and other kitchen supplies. And they even thought about the children with chinoiserie. This is from the 19th century, priced at $1,400. 2 chairs and a small table. Just love it. There's such detail. It's not something I've seen before. This looks like it could be Winston Churchill's desk, except for it has someone else's monogram. Straight from England, complete with inkwell. This is definitely an authentic set. And I can only imagine the person that would have sat there. Perhaps it was a banker, a politician, maybe a duke. And this table is really interesting, and I wish that modern day manufacturers would take note. This is quite a unique find as well. This French oak farm table. It has a drawer at either end, and you can pull out the drawer to stabilize a leaf that is added, and that extends your table for entertaining. And it's as simple as pulling out a drawer, which of course is also great storage, and then you place the leaf at the end. That is brilliant. It's sturdy, it's practical, and now you can have more guests at your table. $4,200, and it is French oak. I see some barley twist there, my favorite, with some beautiful trays. The lacquer was very popular. Those are colors that would work well in my home. Just love all of these. Of course, you can display them on the wall or use them. And the oval table is perfect. Great shape. And an antique clock with some inlay. That's quite an interesting look, and let's find out more about it. It's a rare 1860s English inlaid wall clock made of walnut. Looks to be handcrafted. And this armoire is something that I have not seen before, or maybe I missed the details. We'll talk more about this marriage armoire from the 18th century. A unique French 18th century marriage armoire. This would have held the bride's possessions, things that she was collecting for her household. And you will see the hearts that are carved here. And even at the bottom center, there is a lock so that she could place the jewelry that she's been collecting. This is a fantastic piece. This French table is a beautiful piece that could go in different rooms of your home. It's not just for dining. I could also see this in a study. Priced at $2,600 with drawers at either end. You could maybe equate that to a modern day Henredon, which is the finest furniture quality that you can buy in the United States. And even then, you can't get all of that detail. A tea caddy. You probably remember these from Franklin, Tennessee, Winchester Antique Mall. This is priced at $690 from about 1880. And that center well is actually for mixing the tea. And it would have been stored here. These copper pots are fabulous. And the scales underneath them. Let's weigh in on these. They've got a great selection of scales. These are cast iron and brass, known as merchant's scales, probably from candy stores in England. And I know that these are actually highly collectible. I have friends that have nice collections they feature in their kitchen and breakfast room. This French cabinet is unique because it has a glass display area. And this is a piece that could go in your dining room, kitchen, so many areas of your living space. $3,995. And this barrel is actually made of Majolica, and it has a wooden top. This is something we might have in our cellar in Germany for Sauerkraut, where it has to ferment for a period of time. And that's something that actually go quite well. Wish I could bring that back. $795 from the 19th century. And they call it a pickle jar. And this barley twist, I'm sure, was in quite the estate, perhaps in the library. And if you have tall ceilings, this would be a magnificent addition to your home. Of course, you could feature things other than books. You could display collections. And that hand carving, you just don't find that in furniture today. Not only the quality, but the details. And perhaps that was inspired by a love of music. And this is quite the interesting chair. I'm thinking this is for courting. Hand carved. Look at that. Quite the interesting piece. Just find so many unique things in this shop, especially this right here, which was inspired originally by wild hairdos. It was a cabinet that was made for ladies' hats and for their wigs. $895. A rare and interesting piece of furniture. This was great storage for bonnets, known as a bonnetière. It's about 200 years old, and you'll see the shelves here. You can tell the age by the lock and the hinges. Look at this great storage. That could even be used for linens today. Bonnetières are often compared to armoires as they have similar designs. They are smaller in all ways but one. They are no shallower. Of course, these pieces had to be very deep for that size of furniture, of course, because they had to accommodate the ladies' accessories. A pair of Staffordshire dogs, but these are actually a bit different than the ones we've seen in the past. $995 from the late 19th century. And they definitely stand tall. And anything that is rare, of course, becomes a bit more interesting and valuable. These Staffordshire dogs are unique because their legs are actually not together, and you'll see they are not carrying baskets. Nevertheless, they are mantle dogs, and these are quite valuable and rare. At first glance, it might look like doll's furniture, but this actually served a different purpose. In the craftsman style, this is something that was quite useful for salesmen. Salesman samples are highly collectible. This is an item that a manufacturer's rep would use to showcase their wares to a company like Sears and Roebuck so that they could place their orders for something as simple as a washstand or a piece of furniture. And this is similar to today going to market, where you would have all of your customers, your department stores coming through, and it was definitely a different way to do business. I've had such fun discovering all of these treasures at Barbara's Antiques, Max Miller, Ladybug, and some other items along the way. Thanks again for joining Lady Mary Beth. Elevate your everyday with antique shopping.